It's been a little while since I've worn an orange shirt in front of the camera. I don't even know what I'm talking about. What? Who cares? Orange shirt? Joe, come on. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to After Prison Show. It's the start of a new week, the start of a new month. It is June the 1st, and I'm excited to be here. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to rock with the After Prison Show, and it's my hope that today's video is going to be something that you enjoy. Folks, today I want to share a video with you guys that I had first suggested on the Bobo. The idea came to me while we were doing the Bobo. And this video is called The Top Junie Clenching Moments of My Time Being Locked Up. And actually, we probably titled this video a little bit differently. We probably titled it like The Top 10 Scariest Moments from Prison. But Junie clenching and scariest, those two things are kind of like the same thing. When you're scared, your Junies are gonna pucker up. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with this prison term, Junie cakes, real quick, I'll explain that. That just relates to your hind parts. In prison, well, at least while I was in prison, your hind parts could oftentimes be referred to as Junie cakes. And if somebody ever says that they want your Junie cakes and you try to tell them you don't have any more Hostess or Little Debbie up in your locker, you are completely missing the idea of what exactly it is that they're talking about. And it's also a good possibility that your Junes could quickly become unwrapped, unsealed, popping the top two-dos. It could be a delectable little treat for a prisoner who just might be interested in those. So off tops, what have we learned thus far? If somebody in prison says that they want your Junie cakes, they're interested, do you have any Junie cakes for sale? Tell them absolutely not. These Junes right here are not for resale or sale at all in the first place. But we're mentioning those things right there. Let's go ahead and get into this video, starting with the very first Junie clenching moment from my time locked up, and it most certainly had to be first going to prison. For somebody who has never been to prison, there is nothing like first going to prison. You've heard things, seen things on TV. You have no idea what to really expect. Whether it's a van ride, bus ride, cop car ride, however you're getting transported to prison, you are going to be sitting in the back of that shackled, chained, handcuffed, waist restraint, black handcuff box, tied down, and damn scared. And what's crazy about this is it doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you're the biggest, baddest prisoner in the world, you're UFC trained, TTG trained to go, you're going to be scared. Especially if you've never been there before, because you just have no idea what to expect. You know, prison is a place, without question, where you could lose your life. And if you think about it, I mean, pretty much anywhere is. You could be in a car accident, for God's sakes, and God forbid. But there ain't nothing like that initial ride to prison. And I don't know if it's oftentimes, I don't know if there's situations that aren't like this, but here in my state, every time you are going for a ride to prison, it is always an hours-long ride. At least 2 to 4 hours, sometimes even more. I know there's one prison out west of my state, a place called Red Onion, and there's some other prisons that are out that way too that are like 10 or 12-hour rides. And I couldn't even imagine what it would be like to go on a ride that damn long in the back of a prison van or bus, all shackled up. And sometimes it's the most uncomfortable ride too. Some of these prison buses have like these hard plastic seats. It is just a bad ride all the way around to have to go on. And, you know, first going to prison, I can remember my little Junes were so puckered up. You know, not only for the fact that I was scared and I didn't know what to expect, I also suffer from Crohn's disease, I believe. I've never been diagnosed with this, but I've seen the commercials. And you know, sometimes when you see those medical commercials for those pills or those diseases or symptoms or whatever, you'd be like, damn, I feel like I got that. You ever felt any kind of a sickness symptom and tried to look that up on the internet? It'll tell you you're dying. You just had a heart attack. But I do believe that I suffer from, and this is pretty embarrassing, but I do believe like I suffer from IBS, and I think that's kind of similar to Crohn's disease, which means that you have to poop a lot, especially under pressure when you get nervous. And there ain't nothing more nervous to be about than when you going to prison. And to think that you're on an hours-long ride where there ain't no toilet. You know, that was one of my biggest fears, and I don't know if I've ever shared this before, but I'm gonna share it right now. One of my biggest fears was on that ride that I was gonna have to dookie and there was gonna be nothing I could do about it, and it was gonna be dookie everywhere. Because in the back of a van, they ain't got no bathroom. In the back of a cop car, they most certainly don't. And sometimes on a prison bus, they do have like a urinal or a hole in the floor back there in the cage that you're being transported in. But it most certainly ain't no place to be taking you a number 2. Especially around a whole bunch of other prisoners who's gonna be really mad about that. So that was why going to prison outside of fearing for my life and not knowing what to expect was such a scary endeavor just going there, was because I was scared to death that I was gonna have to use the bathroom. And then I was also scared that what if I did it all over myself. You know, I'm already gonna be having enemies with everybody who I got transferred with who's gonna be so mad about the smell. They gonna get to the prison and tell everybody. You know, that's making my stomach bubble just thinking about that. But yeah, sorry for that graphic, description right there. Going to prison definitely was a Junie clenching moment for me. Very scary. This next Junie clenching / scary moment is kind of going to sound cliche, but trust me when I tell you, it probably happens more times than not. And it also happens on TV as well. You know, when you first get to prison, you hear the whistling, the hooting and hollering. Hey, fresh meat! Damn, look at that butt ball baby shaving face you got right there. No, you ain't never been here before. I'm about to put some lipstick on them lips. You will hear that type of stuff, and yes, that will be disturbing, unsettling for sure, making your butt cheeks clench like, boy, you got a brick stuffed between your cheeks. But all of that is really nothing in comparison to getting where you're going and running across a prisoner who really likes you, or who acts like they don't like you and is really coming at you with the rah-rah aggressive stuff, but also really likes you at the same time. Prison is a wild place. And I've had this happen to me a couple of times. There was a guy named Punk Tattoo Guy. Now, I didn't even know this guy liked me. He was just giving me food and magazine and books and all sorts of, niceties while we were in the jail together. And, I didn't even think about the fact that we were sitting so close to each other with him with his shirt off on his bunk. I thought that was just how you did time. It wasn't until he went home and he wrote me a letter telling me that, he kind of had a thing for me that really made me realize just how close I came to getting my Junes unwrapped. I know that sounds funny, but I'm being dead serious with you. And there was a couple of other times. When I first got to Haynesville, a guy that slept right on the bunk, I was on the top bunk, he slept right on the bunk, on the bottom bunk right next to mine. Older Hispanic dude nicknamed Angel with feminine tattoos tattooed on his forehead. Angel had been down for a long time. And Angel was very nice to me. And I was trying to be as standoffish as I possibly could about this situation. Hey, look, man, the tattooed eyebrows on your forehead, they're not even above your eyes. They're like 2 inches too high. Immediate red flag. Look, Angel, you're a real nice guy and all, and it's not you, it's me, okay? That was a really scary situation right there. Angel had been down for 20 years. And I couldn't even imagine the type of stuff that this person had been through. And I damn sure wasn't trying to experience none of that. Anytime Angel would talk to me, my Junes were sucked up to my stomach. Straight clenched. And then there was Cherry. Cherry was a weird dude, a bigger dude, a bullier type of dude, and also crazy. Man used to talk to himself. He slept a couple of bunks down from mine. He used to always be gritting on me, just looking at me with this really aggressive look, talking to himself or maybe talking to me.
It's still icy. It's still chilly. It's still chilly, baby. You understand what I'm saying? It's still chilly.
And I shared this a long time ago. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but this is actually one of the most unsettling and embarrassing times from all of the time that I served. But I'll never forget this one day where he was just laughing and hooting and hollering. I mean, having a full conversation with him, himself, and his other self, talking about the fact that he had touched a guy's Junies while he was asleep and the guy didn't even realize it. A white guy. And I was the only white guy in proximity. He was looking dead at me as he was talking about this and laughing and smiling. And I just started thinking to myself, man, did this dude touch me while I was asleep and I didn't even realize it? You want to talk about keeping the Junies clenched super tight? I was sleeping with one eye open. And not that eye neither. Actually, that was horrible. Hey, disregard that. Joe, cut that out later, because I'm going to be editing this video, I'm sure. The next unsettling, scary / June clenching moment definitely had to come from having my first beef up inside of the prison. You know, there is nothing like making your first enemy. You don't like a person, they don't like you, and you know that sooner or later it's going to either lead to fisticuffs or some type of sharpened metal or plastic. And you know what's crazy about that is, you know, when you have beef with somebody, as bad as this is to say, you know, sometimes it's better to just get that situation up out of the way as quickly as you can. There ain't a lot of resolution unless you're going to cop a plea. Hey, look, I'm sorry. I'm not even built like that. I never meant to disrespect you. But 9 times out of 10, that ain't going to solve nothing. That's probably just going to lead to your commissary getting snatched up, you getting extorted, like more problems being had for you. So if you got beef with a dude and it could be over anything, something as simple as what they consider disrespect, but they're not even giving you any respect at all neither. So you better try to earn some respect. Win, lose, or lose really bad. Bung, 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 bung! And that's going to be a scary moment. You know, one, having beef, not knowing what that's going to lead to. You know, you're going to be worried about your safety and feeling like you got to look over your shoulders. You can't even lay on your bunk without, you know, being overtly cautious and paranoid. One particular instance of this that comes to mind, very Junie clenching, you know, for me personally was, again, at Haynesville. My bunkie, Spanish dude, I spoke on this before, so I'm not gonna go too crazy with this. Hispanic dude, high-ranking Hispanic gang member dude at that, played soccer with this guy, we were cool. I ended up getting into an argument with one of his homeboys, which led to me not only having problems with that guy, but also having problems with my bunkie who wanted to kill me. Even told me that. Guerrero, I don't want to have to kill you, man. I don't want to have to kill you. And I believed this guy. He had a little reputation for being a live wire, for chasing dudes around the yard with a shank. I mean, he had done that while I was there. Not sure if he ever caught that guy or not. And this guy slept right below me. Man, my Junes were clenched up during this entire situation, which lasted probably like a week. My Junes were clenched up like I just ate me some Sour Patch Kids. You know them joints are sour and your lips be like... I'm really not trying to be so graphic in describing things in this video, but you gotta admit, I'm probably not doing too bad of a job at it. Maybe I am. Maybe this is horrendous. You know, there was no easy way to resolve this situation. I couldn't go fighting this guy because I'd been fighting the entire Hispanic community at that point. And what made matters even worse was during this time when this was taking place, they were painting the bunks in the housing unit. So every night, one row of prisoners would end up going to the hole. Well, the paint crew came in and painted that row of bunks. And I knew, like just watching the first row, the middle row, the second middle row, we were on the last row. Every night, I knew it was just a day closer to where me and my cellie were gonna end up in a isolation cell together. And I knew that that was ultimately gonna be the time to have to resolve this situation. And as soon as we got up in that cell together, I'm not gonna lie, I was so scared. Back up against the door the entire time, ready to start banging on that joint. Guard! Save me! I'm just being real with you. Or maybe I would have had to fight for my life in that situation. But regardless, it was during then that my cellie told me that he didn't want to have to end me. And at that point, I copped a plea. Hey, look, I am sorry. I never meant to offend anybody. I never meant to disrespect you or your crew or anybody like that. It was a big misunderstanding. Luckily, we worked out the situation without any violence, and it was one of few times where I ever copped a plea in prison. Most of the time I fought and lost, but that time I wasn't trying to take on that whole set. Another major Junie clenching moment in prison comes from, you know, being locked up, doing this time, getting into your bid mode, and hustling. Hustling, but more specifically, smuggling. And whether you're any type of a smuggling prisoner or you're a hustle man or whatever you got going on, 9 times out of 10, there's gonna come a time when you got to smuggle something. Whether it's for yourself or for somebody else, and there ain't gonna be no scarier time than when you got something on, it's not all that scary, but it is pretty scary. When you got something on you that you know you ain't supposed to have. If you get caught with it, you're getting a charge, going to the hole, losing good time, and having that on you and reaching some sort of a checkpoint, whether it's at a door, a gate, a building, where you gotta get searched. Now, usually while smuggling something, you're gonna try to wait for the most opportune time to do so. But most of the time, it's only a bad time and a worse time. So you gotta try to pick between those two. And there's a pretty damn good chance that you're gonna end up getting searched. And let me tell you something. You are going to have the Junes clenched super tight, especially depending upon how you're actually smuggling this item. You might actually really need to have those Junes clenched tight, if you get my drift, using the old prison suitcase method. Have we ever done a video about that, a tutorial? How to load up the prison suitcase? We ought to do that. I'm kidding. That's not going to be a video coming anytime soon. I don't care how many likes we get on this video, which, speaking of, if you're enjoying this video, I truly hope that you guys will leave a like on this. Now would be a good time to do so. I greatly appreciate your support. Moving on to another Junie clenching moment, and this kind of relates to the last one, dealing with smuggling and things that you're not supposed to have. Let's just say, you do get through that checkpoint, that roadblock, whatever the case may be. Shakedowns, no matter who you are definitely going to be scary, traumatizing, Junie clenching for show. For show one, actually. An awesome supporter of After Prison Show, and also the Bobo, who just purchased the cartoon yesterday. Thank you very much for your support. It don't matter how long you've been locked up for, how many of these shakedowns you have been through, and you're going to go through a lot of them while locked up. But shakedowns are scary no matter what. Because more than likely, you're going to have something that you have that you don't want to get caught with, but you don't want to lose. And that is always, the narrow line that you traverse when a shakedown happens. Because when this goon squad comes barging through these doors, whether it's bright and early in the morning, late at night, I've been in shakedowns when they come in the middle of the night. You want to talk about PTSD? It's like having the feds kick in your house. But one of the first things that they're going to do is they're going to hit you with the plea bargain. If you got anything in here that you ain't supposed to have, now is your one and only chance to get rid of it without a charge. And you can't imagine how many guys actually fall for that. But more than likely, you're going to have something that you ain't trying to part with, whether it's pictures, tattooing things. You're going to be hoping that that hiding place that you're using is good enough, and they're not going to find whatever it is, maybe something smuggled out of the kitchen. And like I said, don't matter how many times you've been through a shakedown, them Junes are going to be clenched like you got super glue between your cheeks when it's your turn to get searched. Because however long that takes is going to feel like forever. And the entire time you're going to be sitting there eyes wide open, hoping they don't find whatever you've got hidden. Because if they do, you're getting a charge and you're going to the hole. Next on this list is finding out that you've made a certain type of list while in prison. And I'm not talking about the type that you need to register for. If you need to register for anything while you're locked up, you're just not going to be able to keep those Junes clenched. They're going to use the prison can opener. When I was locked up and I found out that I made the hot list, which is you've either had a dirty drug test in prison or you've gotten caught with something that they consider drugs. I got caught with ibuprofen. They considered that not drugs, but a medication that didn't belong to me. That was enough to get me put on the hot list. Now, I didn't even know that I was on the hot list until I was. And I'll never forget the first time they called my name over that intercom. Gadado! Gadado! Come down to the gym! I had no idea what they were calling my name for. It wasn't visitation. Hell, even if it was, I wasn't getting no visits. And ain't nothing like getting your name called. It's the only name that's getting called. And all eyes are on you. You're in prison, court's over with, but you still got dudes up in prison who be snitching. And all them eyes on you, wondering, where are you going? And what are you getting ready to talk about? The very first time they called my name, I was so scared. Feeling like all the prisoners in this housing unit were gonna be looking at me like I was getting ready to go tell something, which I was not. Had no idea why or where I was going. All I knew is they called my name to the gym. And when I got down there and met these RoboCop / investigative gang unit officers who were the meanest, nastiest, most degrading staff at this facility, I mean, literally standing behind you, talking trash to you. Pull your little hoo-ha out and hurry up and fill that cup up. What are you, nervous? Y'all, I already had stage fright feeling like everybody was watching me, prior to any of this. This traumatized my entire life. Bubble guts, June's clenched for real. I'm trying not to let my stomach fall out. I literally couldn't do this. I could not perform. And this is super embarrassing to admit, but it's the truth. I literally had to tell these guards, hey, look, I've got Crohn's disease, or IBS as it might also be referred to as, and I got to dookie. They were laughing at me, so I had to drop my pants right there in front of them, dookie right in front of them as they're still sitting there talking trash to me. I mean, it's loud. It's just like a blowout on the interstate. But by the time I did that, I let the grippers loose. I released the Junes. By the time I did that, I took the test. And you know what? I couldn't have been happier. Going back up into that housing unit, walking with my head held high. Just got degraded down at the gym. But guess what? I could now announce to the entire housing unit, hey, guess what? I'm on the hot list. Oh, this is going to suck. And it did. Twice a week for a year. Never got any easier. Never knew when it was going to happen. All hours of the day and night. Next on this list, definitely a scary moment in prison. Anytime that you feel like it's getting ready to jump off, like a riot, which is kind of fitting considering everything that's going on in the country right now. But while locked up, tensions will rise. Hell, I can think about everything going on in the country right now and wonder how that's affecting, life locked up right now. But it's never going to fail. When you're locked up at certain times, things are going to be on edge. The tension's going to be so thick you can damn near cut it with a knife. And you're either going to get a chance to experience what a riot is like or come damn close to experiencing what a riot is like. Now, there's only 2 times that I've ever dealt with riot-like circumstances in prison. Well, one of them happened in jail where the entire cell block jumped on this dude. This happened like almost immediately when I got up into the cell block. They had an issue with this guy. He was from out of state. It was over a sweat meat lunch tray. They beat the brakes off that dude. Very scary situation right there. And the second time was between the ABs and the Bloods or the Crips. I can't remember. It might have even been both of them. The ABs against the world. And me being a white dude and not being any type of affiliated with none of that, being an outsider, you want to talk about that being even more of a Junie clinching moment. Because if shit does jump off, what do? Do I pick a side or do I play the sideline? Because there ain't going to be very many prisoners who ain't going to be engaging in that activity. That was a very scary situation. Luckily, it didn't jump off. And if it had, I can't even tell you what I'd have done. But if it did, I probably would have had to figure that out pretty quick. Number 8 on this list is getting a new cellie. There has been so many times when I ended up with a cellmate that I could not stand. And because of that, dudes that I had problems with, dudes that I had to fight, got my ass kicked by them, and there ain't nothing like having a cellmate that you can't stand, that you got a problem with, that don't like you. Having to handle that situation, still being stuck in a cell with that guy, having to figure out which one of y'all got to go because one of y'all got to go. I've been in all of those situations. And it's because of all of those situations that anytime that you don't have a cellmate and you're in a situation where you're going to have a cellmate, just a matter of time before they bring somebody new in, you're going to be a little worried about that. You might not be super scared about it, but it's definitely going to be something that's going to have the Junes like mid-clenched. Thinking about, man, what if they bring in X, Y, and Z type of a prisoner? I got to handle that. I don't even feel like getting my shoes on today. But probably like with a lot of things while locked up, you're going to have to do things that you don't want to do, whether it's get along with somebody that you don't like, try to coexist with somebody, or handle that situation. And sometimes you might really need to keep those Junies tucked with a new cellie. Ever tell you about the time I got a new cellie named Delicious? Biggest dude I ever seen in my life. With the softest, sweetest voice. Never forget doing curls off of the bars and him just talking to me. Oh, Joe, look at your back. It is glistening. Keep talking to me, Delicious. Me and Delicious ended up getting along quite well. Not that well, though. And at first, my Junes were vacuum sealed. Eventually, I got a little more comfortable around him. I left to go to prison, and that was the last cellie that I had. I left Delicious everything because I couldn't take it with me. He was a good dude, though. Hands down. He was a really good cellie. Number 9 and number 10 on this list kind of deal with the same exact thing. I wanted to start this video with going to prison. I want to end this with getting out. And number 9 is preparing to get released, or having a release date that is upcoming is going to be major cause for you to be scared. Ain't nothing like knowing that your release date is upcoming, and you're happy about this too. Don't get me wrong, you're more happy than anything, but you're going to be scared. You're going to be losing sleep behind this, wondering, what if I don't get released? What if something else pops up? What if somebody tries to trick up my release date? What if my home plan doesn't get approved? You got to have somewhere to go to that's pre-approved before they even release you. And when my release date was coming up, that was one of the biggest things that I was scared to death about. Was not getting released on my release date. Been locked up for 6 years and 10 months. I was ready to go home. Should have been released in July. July the 6th was my original release date. Tricked my time up. And when July the 6th of 2015 rolled around, you couldn't imagine how sick and stupid I was feeling. Having to wait all the way till October the 13th, like 5 freaking months later. Well, when October rolled around, or late September, and I'm working on trying to get my home plan so that I can get released on my date, they were not approving my home plan. Not only were they not approving it, they were never going to check on it. I literally had to be in the counselor's office every day. You would have thought Joe was snitching. I mean, that's how much I was in those people's faces. And it was finally like literally 3 days before I was getting released that they finally approved my home plan. I think they went there like a week or 10 days prior. But just because they go there don't mean nothing. You got to have that paper that says your home plan has been approved. 3 days left until I'm supposed to be getting released. And I finally received that paper. You think my hair's gray now? Prison was a big part of what led to the grayness. And also, speaking of my hair, folks, I've heard you loud and clear. I will be getting a haircut very soon. The final thing on this list, number 10, is getting released. June's clenched, scary situation, which probably doesn't even make any sense. You're probably thinking to yourself, Joe, how the hell could you be scared to get released? Well, once you've done time, a lot of time, done time more than one time, you're going to be scared because you're going to want to come home and do it right, hopefully. Some guys, they get released and they don't even care about doing it right. They want to get right back out there to the party. And I've been that guy before. But this time, being the one time that I really wanted to come home and do it right, I was scared to death thinking that I wouldn't be able to. What if I couldn't handle the temptation? What if I wasn't able to walk away from that? What if I got right back into the drugs? Knowing I can't handle none of that, my addictive mentality takes over just like that. What if I caught a charge? What if I didn't have anywhere stable to live? What if it was beyond my control? Why I went back to my old ways and I come back to prison. I'm getting released at 32 years old. You want to talk about being scared? Feeling like that if I got locked up again, that was it. I can't do this again. And I want to say that fear, having my Junes like a pair of vice grips, probably led in part to me being successful out here because I was too scared to go back. I did not want to go back. So sometimes maybe that fear is a good thing. Sometimes maybe it's not so bad being scared of being in prison or getting released. Folks, I wanted to share this with you guys, and I truly hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did so, please leave a like and a comment on this, letting me know exactly what you thought about this. If there's a moment that you can think about that was scary for you while locked up, or even if you've never been, would be scary for you, please comment down below what exactly that is, and I look forward to hearing from you guys. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day. Peace!